car metaphors all the time. You'd be like, ooh, that was a poor choice of words. Like, he didn't think that one through. Let me back up. Take the high road, trampling over my rights. Oh my gosh.
Did you at any time ask the alleged defendant to meet up
Did you
with
ask?
Well, I told Mr. Brooks where I was.
Did you at any time ask to meet up with the alleged defendant?
No, I did not.
So it would be fair to say that the alleged defendant just came where you were?
Yes, I told you where we were, and obviously we were going to hang out. I never told Mr. Brooks to hang out with me. I told him where we were.
So why would...
Because you harassed the shit out of me, that's
if there
why.
was an argumentative conversation prior to you meeting up with the alleged defendant, why would you tell the alleged defendant where you were?
Sustained.
Even better, Darrell, if y'all just got finished having an altercation, why would you go fucking looking for her? Ugh, oh my God, ain't nothing stinkier than when a grown ass man does this. When a grown ass man does something crazy and then does this. That's like, really? You can't even be responsible for your own self. Not even just the stuff that's going on around, but like your literal own physical self. That ain't you either. So you ain't responsible for nothing at all on the planet. Then what the fuck is you here for? Is what I'm asking. Like, what is you here for? Which is how you got ended up in the Supermax, I'm pretty sure. So I guess that makes sense. It checks out. Turns out it checks out.
You just stated that you really don't know the city of Waukesha. Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So how would you know exactly where you were?
Because I was with Corey and she's familiar with this area.
Ooh, give him some attitude, girl.
Would it be fair to say that Corey overheard these conversations between you and the alleged defendant?
Yes, she was my roommate. She heard every conversation almost.
Ooh, Darrell didn't like that. Look.
You say every conversation.
It's in Darrell's face. He was like, wait, what? What you mean? Wait, like everything? I mean, I've been saying some crazy shit for a while. For how long? You let her see all that crazy shit that I said? You traitor.
When she
call her a traitor, Darrell. Say traitor.
When I was always talking to
her.
Say Trader Joe's.
It would be fair to say that you were engaged in conversation with the alleged defendant before you even left the women's shelter?
Yes.
And those argumentative conversations continue into your hanging out?
Yes.
Would it be fair to say that that's what led you to drink?
No.
Ooh.
Would it be fair to say you were drinking because that's what you wanted to do?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Is it true that one of the rules and requirements of being at the women's shelter is no drugs and no alcohol? Would that be fair to say?
Yes, but when I was drinking, it was at Frame Park. I was not at the women's shelter.
Would it be fair to say that you knew you had to come back into the women's shelter at some point that day, that they have a curfew?
Yes, and I made it before curfew.
Look at Darrell.
Let me back up a little bit.
Yeah, back the hell up, Darrell.
You did state that part of the rules and requirements for being in the women's shelter is no drugs and no alcohol, correct?
Yes, it was not in the women's shelter.
That's not what I'm asking. It's part of the requirement and rules of the women's shelter, no drugs, no alcohol.
That's what the fuck you just said.
Sustained. Next question.
Darrell, have you ever heard of rephrasing a question? Have you ever heard of rephrasing a question? Because there'll be like, let me say it a little different. Were you aware of the rule about no drinking and no smoking or whatever's in the facilities? You're like, but I wasn't drinking in there. So yeah, I know. That's not what I asked you. I asked you, were you aware of the... It's like, Darrell, rephrase means change it. You gotta change it in hopes that now in the new form of way that you do it will make more sense. They'll just keep repeating the same question, acting like she's stupid. Like, let me change that up for you. And then repeat the same fucking thing. Darrell, you extra special. With a side of horse shit. Okay? Extra special horse shit. He's worried about her breaking a curfew. He ain't worried about her breaking no curfew. He's trying to get her kicked out of that fucking woman's shelter. Make no mistake. Darrell's mission in life was to ruin Erica's. He's very much tied. His happiness is very much tied to her misery. When she's miserable, he's happy. Those things are linked. So while he's about to go to jail, he wants to make sure that she is unhappy, uncomfortable, unsafe, on all these things while he's gone. While he says, if he's like, that's his mission, that's his whole thing. But that's all that was. That's all. Just Daryl being a douche, a regular douchey Wednesday,
Mr. Brooks.
Nothing new.
Is there any type of drug and alcohol testing at the women's shelter?
I don't know. No.
No, or you don't know?
I don't know.
Would it be fair to say that if it was found that you were engaging in drugs and alcohol, that you might have lost your place at the women's shelter?
I'll object. I don't see how this is going.
Sustained.
Because it ain't.
Next question.
That is so funny.
So around what time were you hanging out with Miss Corey, you said?
I don't remember.
Do you remember where you were at?
Frame Park.
Do you remember where in Frame Park?
No.
And approximately at what time did you meet up with the alleged defendant?
I don't remember.
How long were you with the alleged defendant? Do you remember that?
Approximately 35 minutes.
Do you recall what? Well, you said that during this time you were with the alleged defendant that there was a arguing going on. Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
Do you remember what that argument was about?
He was arguing with me about money because I did not bail him out.
Tell it, sister girl.
You also said that
Hit the like button for mama, please. There was like, look, I'm coming down here. You gonna give me this here money because I had to go into my mama's purse to get this money to get me out. And that is your responsibility for sending me there for driving over your foot. So you need to pay her back. Daryl's brokenness knew no bounds. Like Daryl had nothing in the world. No ambition to get anything in the world either. He thought he was gonna be a rapper, y'all. Daryl said, I am trending. Daryl was trending, y'all. He was gonna be a big star. He was gonna be a big star, y'all. He was gonna be big. He was gonna be like, he was gonna be the next shit. I don't know. Whoever's big, I don't know. Daryl thought he was gonna be hot shit though. Turned out he just smelled like it. Well, Daryl, in a way, you are hot shit. Okay, you're like hot, shitty shit. Okay.
Well, let me back up from that a little bit.
Yeah, back the fuck up. Back it up. Oh shit.
If you knew that the conversation was becoming volatile, why did you still meet up with the alleged defendant?
I don't know.
To your knowledge, did the alleged defendant know anything about the city of Waukesha?
Yes.
Ooh.
And what did the alleged defendant know about Waukesha?
He told me, Mr. Brooks told me that his first child's mother lives in Waukesha.
Do you know that to be a fact?
No, that's just what Mr. Brooks told me.
Ooh. Damn. It's fucked up.
Are you aware that the alleged defendant in fact has
Oh,
no
what is you talking about?
mother of any child that lives in the city of Waukesha?
Objection. If Mr. Brooks wants to testify, he should do so.
It gives
Other
me
than
peace
what
and serenity.
you can recall about what the alleged defendant told you that they knew about Waukesha.
Yep. What about it?
How did the alleged defendant meet up with you in the location that you gave?
Mr. Brooks already knew where Frame Park was.
Ooh.
Mr. Brooks previously had been to Waukesha plenty of times before. He's told me that.
And when was that told to you, and what conversation? Was it that day?
Before that. I'm not sure which day it was. I just know he knows about Waukesha.
And I know he knows.
Would it be fair to say that when you told the alleged defendant where you were, that the alleged defendant knew exactly where you were?
Yes.
Chanel.
And how would the alleged defendant know that?
Because Mr. Brooks already knew Waukesha. He knew exactly where to go.
Did you at any time give directions where you may have been?
How could I give directions when I barely knew Waukesha myself?
Is that a no?
That's a no, sorry.
That's okay. Thank you.
If you barely knew
She
Waukesha
questioned
yourself,
all her life choices. She questioned it right
where did
now.
you get the information of where you were from, where you were at
I
the time of the conversation via telephone?
I left the women's shelter with Corey, and she knows that location. She told me what Frame Park was. I didn't know the name.
Ooh. Come on, Daryl, you got to come harder than that. That's what
And
Bubba said.
It would be fair to say, assuming from what you just said, that you were
Well, maybe that's what
with the
Daryl
alleged
said to
defendant
Bubba.
for approximately around 30 minutes or so.
Yes.
And during that time, did you make any disparaging remarks or anything to entice the argument to escalate?
No.
So you didn't say anything at all during your 30 minutes with the alleged defendant?
No, because I was crying the whole time because Mr. Brooks was yelling at me, arguing with me.
He uses car metaphors all the time. Be like, ooh, that was a poor choice of words. Like, he didn't think that one through. I'll run over my right. Yeah, let me back up. Take the high road. Oh, look at y'all. Trampling over my rights. Oh my gosh. Remember he was saying it was people everywhere. He was like, there were people that were everywhere. Remember he was doing that? I was like, oh God, Daryl. It was literally what he made the people do. This. Oh my God. He was like, yeah, people were everywhere. They were everywhere. Ain't that funny? It's like his body language was expressing what he actually saw while he was just trying to lie and say, oh yeah, I just saw people. They were everywhere. But what he actually saw when he saw the people everywhere was this. Those people flying everywhere. And so his body went ahead and demonstrated it, if, almost without his consent.